Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel,
Mangotology.
Today I'm going to be answering your questions that you've sent in for me, whether via email, Twitter, or down in the comment section below. I've compiled some of the most highly requested questions that I get asked on a daily basis, and I'm going to be answering some of those for you now, so let's get right on into it.
Today's video is brought to you by Suppressive Merchandise. Suppressive Merchandise is my online t-shirt store selling anti-Scientology merchandise for men, women, and children. If you're interested in picking up a t-shirt, you can go to suppressivemerchandise.com.
So the first question is, what are your plans on exposing Scientology in the new year? So as you guys know, I've been working really hard on this channel to continuously make videos for you guys. I know I've lacked in the last couple days to make videos. I went on a little trip with Jeff, and I've actually been kind of in a good place lately, so it's kind of hard to sometimes sit on camera and talk about Scientology or be reminded of some of the different things that I've encountered or experienced, and especially when you're going up against a very toxic and criminal organization. I'm not here sitting on camera talking about baking brownies or something like that, so it's hard for me sometimes to feel like, you know, my efforts aren't recognized in the way, because it's not like me alone can take down Scientology as one person. I am one of many critics in a big effort from all of us to expose Scientology and to reach an audience of people, whether, you know, my subscribers may not follow some other, you know, Scientology critic on YouTube, for example, or there's people who read blogs. So I feel like as a collaborative effort, we can make change, but sometimes you feel like you're going up against this big dog and you wonder, like, you know, am I able to do anything about that? But then, you know, I get reminded because I get emails from you guys or messages or whatever. I see you guys out in public and you guys tell me your stories and stuff like that. So it's really powerful to know that I've been able to reach such a large amount of people, and I've been able to help at least a number of people who have said that I've helped them escape Scientology or learn about it. So I do feel like my efforts are worthwhile, and it's really heartwarming to know that I am able to make somewhat of a difference by, you know, working on my channel and that sort of thing. So yeah, I want to be able to release videos at least 3 times a week. I want to try to aim for every day, but that's sometimes a little bit much to do. I'm going to be working on Mangotology.com as well as launching my Mangotology podcast. So I'm going to try to get on some other ex-members and critics. So if there's anyone you want me to interview for my podcast show, leave their names down below, or, you know, message them and say, hey, get in touch with Steve Mango, I want you to be on his podcast. Or even on my channel, I do want to interview a lot of other ex-members and people that have stories that I want to be able to, you know, give them a voice and put them on my channel and interview them, kind of like what I did with Karen Presley. But, you know, I have people who do want to come forward for the first time telling their stories, so I would like to start, you know, being able to meet up with these other people and start telling their stories in the next couple weeks. On top of all of that, I've been working on my ex-Scientology memoir called My Scientology Memoir, and I've been working really hard, and as you guys know, it's hard when you have, you know, all these other things on your plate, plus writing the book and getting that wrapped up at the manuscript and working on a cover and working on, you know, the biography for the book, and just like all these little things that you don't necessarily think about, and getting it on Amazon and doing an ebook version and getting it in Barnes & Noble and all these different things. So I've been working on trying to get a big time publisher to work with me as well. So I've been in talks with some different publishers and stuff. So it's been a lot of work with regard to getting the book going. And I also been working on my Suppressive merchandise line and trying to grow that. So if you guys don't know, I have an online store. It's called Suppressive Merchandise, and I sell ex-Scientology slogans and t-shirts and stuff like that. So it's really cool. It just launched last week, and I'm beyond floored with the amount of love and support I've been getting from you guys buying my shirts and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in seeing some of those designs, that's suppressivemerchandise.com. So yes, I have some really big plans. Long story short, I do have some really big plans on taking down Scientology next year. So keep your eyes and ears wide open. Could Marty have been in Scientology all along and working for Scientology to gather intel? Now, you guys have been asking me this a lot. I've gotten many private emails and stuff about this, like, hey, like, do you think Marty all along was in Scientology? And this is just my opinion on the matter. I don't necessarily think that Marty left Scientology for the basis of gathering intel for Scientology, because let's look, he started his moving on up blog, or whatever the hell he calls it. He started his blog and he started revealing some very personal things about Scientology. Now, I think if he did it, for example, and he left Scientology and he remained quiet, and like say he started talking to like different prominent ex-members, for example, or trying to get into different people's social circles and trying to do it that way, or say like, hey, I need a helping hand, and maybe get involved with someone saying like, hey, like we can let you stay at our home, for example, or whatever, then he could gather the intel. But if he's willing to start exposing Scientology and telling some very personal stuff, now he hasn't told all. I said it before, his hands, still have blood on them, and there's still different things that have gone on in Scientology that we know that Marty hasn't, spoken all about. And I'm sure, like people like Mike Rinder, even though I believe Mike Rinder has apologized and he's sincere, it's not like a Marty Rathbun situation, but, there's certain things I'm sure that some of these guys haven't revealed or spoken all about. So there's that, but Marty has gone and he's interviewed other ex-members, he's made videos, he's in my Scientology movie alongside me, so I know that Marty had intention on exposing Scientology, and even just being on set with him for my Scientology movie, he was very angry. Whenever you talk about Miscavige or anything, it's like, he wants to he gets like, I want to strangle the guy sort of thing. That's kind of how I perceive Marty when he would talk about, David Miscavige, for example, or other people at Int Base, or other things that would go on inside Scientology. So I don't necessarily feel that he was calling up after the shoot and being like, Steve Mango, said this to Louis Theroux, or Louis Theroux told Stephen Mango to lie about something. Like, there wasn't, I don't believe that going on. But now that he got the settlement deal, or he got that sort of thing with Scientology, now let's think about it. Now it's fine. Now everything's, fair game, anything that people have told him or ex-members, because now he's working on their side. So now if he has intel on the ex-members, he's getting compensated to say it. Now, this isn't a question on there where people always ask me, like, what about these ads? Like, can we support you by like clicking on the ads? Doing anything with the ads in order to get you compensated? Like, do you get compensated? And yes, I do get compensated for the ads that appear on my videos. But as we all know, there's been a big adpocalypse on YouTube where, a lot of my videos get demonetized, and I don't necessarily know. I'm not getting millions of dollars. I'm not getting rich from, Scientology paying me. Like, I do get paid from the Scientology ad dollars that get put on my videos that do get monetized. So there is that, but that's why I started my Patreon. You guys can see the link down below, patreon.com/StephenMango, and it allows people to leave a monthly donation, $5, $10 a month. That goes all the way up to a lot more than that, but anything that some of you guys can do to help if you do like and support this channel, to be able to let me be able to come on camera, expose Scientology, the criminals like Marty Rathbun and other people, to be able to continuously do this, have money to be able to put behind my videos and editing and making my new documentary, my book, all that sort of stuff. It really does help me be able to continue to expose Scientology. I'm not pocketing it. I'm not living off those expenses. It's truly just for being able to expose Scientology. So again, the link to that's down below. But in regard to Marty, I feel like Marty did get a big settlement check, and he's now using the data he got outside of the church to now give Scientology information that helps Scientology. So I know it's twisted. I'll make another video about it later. Are you going to be on Leah Remini's show? I get asked this all the time. People were writing to Leah, I made like this tweet, and I probably got, I think it was like 1,500 people retweeted it saying like they wanted to see me on Leah's show. And I wrote to Leah, I've spoken to Leah, we've direct messaged back and forth, and not talking about like me on her show necessarily, just about some other stuff, but I do feel that I haven't been on this season, for example, just because the abuses and the stuff are very, heavy, and they're telling some very, deep stories, and I understand why I haven't been on, and I'm cool with that. Like, if there's other stories that have to be told right now that help with revoking the tax exemption, for example, or to showcase different abuses, then I'm all for that, obviously. Like, I don't need to be on her show. I have my YouTube platform. It would be great because it'd be able to let my story out there on a different platform and basis than I'm able to tell on the internet. But I truly respect what she's doing, and if she wants to have me on, great. If not, like, it's cool. I'm able to talk to you guys and tell my side of the story, and I don't have producers behind me, I don't have other stuff, so I'm able to tell some different stories on my channel and other people's stories that can't be necessarily told on television, or they have to go through legal necessarily for a show like Leah's. So I don't have a legal department that has to clear my videos, so I can tell the stories that sometimes other people or other productions can't tell. So let's just say it like that. So yeah, Leah knows who I am. She knows my number. If she wants to call me to have me on her show, that would be great. If not, cool. I understand why I haven't been on. And you know, people think like, oh, he's so fame hungry. Like, he'd of course want to be on her show. Like, he loves, you know, making videos and rehashing his story 100 times. But that's not really it. You know, obviously with acting and that sort of stuff, you don't get a career started by mentioning you were in Scientology. Like, I had a meeting with some entertainment industry people, like, let's say it like that, and they were like revolted, like, oh my god, like, you know, like, he talks about Scientology on the internet, like, we shouldn't work with him, sort of thing, because it's just seen as taboo. Like, when you're like a whistleblower and you speak out and do that sort of stuff, it's, yeah, a lot of people see it's courageous and whatever, but in terms of like your image and that sort of stuff, if anything, it's only ever hurt my image. But there has been someone who's, I guess you can say, discovered me on YouTube and came across my channel and has offered me a role in a really big movie. And I don't want to say too much more than that. They're trying to get the funding with, like, say, a major film, like, say, Paramount or Warner Brothers, one of those guys, but not Paramount or Warner Brothers, like a really big film company that they're working on, you know, just finishing up with like their financing. And the film was packaged, like a lot of these like big talent agents package. They're like celebrity actors for the film, and they basically have a package of actors for this film. And I don't want to tell you guys who I'm going to be playing or what I'm going to be doing. I don't want to say anything yet because I don't want to jinx it, because my contract is not signed. It's still in the works, and I don't want Scientology to interfere with anything in any way. But do know that there's a possibility that I'm going to be in a big movie. So I just want to give you guys a little heads up on that. So if you guys want to hear more or keep up to date with that sort of stuff, I will tell you guys on my YouTube channel, but also add me on Twitter at Stephen Mango. I love to tweet and write to you guys and retweet you. So I don't know, I don't want to say anything yet because I don't want them to say, oh, you already spoke about the film or something like that. So I'm keeping my mouth shut for once about something and hoping that comes through. But I've been in a pretty good place with my life, guys. I have a new agent and manager if I want to do acting stuff, but I really love creating video content, and I want to be able to get my other YouTube channels going. And I have a business idea that I'm working on. So there's a lot of other things I do with my time other than, you know, sitting down making videos. Everyone thinks, oh, you're just trying to make a living off of this. And I'm really not necessarily trying to do this as a living. I do have a business that I'm trying to get up off the ground, and I do have many other hobbies and interests and other things I do. That's why I disappear sometimes for a few days. Not like I'm doing crack or something like that, but I disappear for a few days, not in a crack den, and I have some other, you know, fun things that keep me kind of grounded when I'm not doing like Scientology exposing stuff. So anyways, again, another long answer, but I think it was worth going into, I guess. Why don't celebrities take a stand against the criminal activity of Scientology? I think that with Scientology, it's not that they don't want to take a stand against the abuses. Like, they may have heard different things, but they'd be more willing to say, speak out against the abuse of Harvey Weinstein or something if they were like involved with that, for example. That type of abuse. But if it's about their religion and Scientology and, you know, everyone else is these SPs who are trying to destroy our religion and our belief system, and they're spreading lies and propaganda, you get very brainwashed in your mind control to believe that everything anyone else says is a lie. These people, such as myself, are these bitter ex-members, so they kind of can't accept reality that it's actually going on, with that there's abuse and criminal activity and financial extortion and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they don't necessarily see it because they're in a different department of, like, say, the Celebrity Center, and they also don't, you know, Google it or anything like that, but I think they just selectively choose to not believe it because, like John Travolta says, you know, it helped me get my first acting role or this or that, and they just use that one win, that one thing that really worked for them in their life, and then they basically surround themselves and say, you know what, Scientology is my world, and they discredit anything else, because if this helped me so much, why am I going to go investigate into, you know, the crimes? But then we have to think, like, you have a personal responsibility as someone who's a public figure to look in to see, like, what's actually happening. You would do it about sexual abuse, for example, or some may not, but for like other abuse sort of things. Why wouldn't you do it about your own religion? Wouldn't you want to know more about what's actually going on? Like, why do you want to turn a blind eye? Just because it helps you. And I told this to an OT8 when I was protesting. I'm going to upload some more protesting videos too soon. I have to make a mental note about that. But there was an OT8 and I talked to him, and he goes, well, I'm holding my protest sign. He's like, well, it works for me. And I'm like, sir, it may have worked for you, But you have to think, people like me who are in Scientology, I'm not just someone who's just here with a sign for nothing, I have nothing else better to do with my time. I'm here because I experienced abuse within Scientology. Not just me. There are hundreds, if not thousands of others who have left Scientology, who have been abused, who've had families disconnected from, who've experienced a lot of different things. And just because it's working for you doesn't mean that you can't take responsibility or see what's actually happening to other people or what your church is doing to other people. You have to go and actually not be selectively ignorant to what's actually happening inside Scientology and what they're actually doing to people, and he had nothing else to say. Like, I basically shut him down. I said something similar to that. Those weren't like my exact words, but that was basically what I said. And they want to think like, well, it works for me, so who cares if someone else had a bad experience? But it's like, it doesn't work that way. There's a lot that actually goes on inside Scientology that needs to be spoken for, and a lot of things that people are afraid to tell or go forward with that can actually help make a change and not reform Scientology so we can all be in Scientology again, not that type of reform, but in the sense of that Scientology can be taxed, Scientology can be shut down, something can actually be done about it. So we have to speak out, not be silent. What is the worst thing to happen to you inside Scientology? I never really talked too much, on my channel. A little bit I've talked about like physical abuse sort of stuff. I haven't had it nearly as bad as some other people, so I don't want to feel like I'm taking away from some other people's like very bad experiences with physical abuse inside Scientology. But I've mentioned in terms of sewer recruitment, I've been spit on, I've been pushed up against walls, whether it's in financial regging cycles and that sort of thing. There have been many instances where I was pushed around, I was locked in rooms, held against my will. I guess the most scary times were when I was like locked in a room because I didn't necessarily know what was going to happen to me necessarily. So I guess in that regard, that was probably the most like traumatizing sort of thing, where that's really where a lot of my post-traumatic stress stems from. And our last question for this video, what is the most abusive policy in Scientology? For me, I believe the most abusive policy is fair gaming. Again, disconnection. There's probably many, but I think fair game is really evil, where they can attack you, sue you, slander, anything in order to protect Scientology. They can attack you, they can, slash your tires, crash your car, anything they can do, as long as they get an impinge on you, for example, and say, hey, like, we're a force to be reckoned with, shut your mouth. You are a Scientologist, not to speak out against Scientology. So they have to protect their image, so that's what Scientology does. It's evil, it's criminal, but that's what Scientology does in order to silence their critics. Again, if you guys want to send me questions, leave them down in the comment box down below. You can write to me on Twitter @StephenMango. I also collect my questions there. You can also email me as well. I do love to talk to my Patreon subscribers as well. If you guys are interested in learning more about Patreon, how you can be able to help me and support my channel, patreon.com/StephenMango. Give a thumbs up for this video. Go buy Suppressive merchandise, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching.